Alright, so I watched an anime recently called Fuuto Tantei. What a mishmash of childish innocence, perversion, nostalgia and gore. It's difficult to compare to anything, yet somehow it reminds me of so much stuff at once. I'd confidently say I recommend it if I was speaking about the first few episodes, and I would be a lot more hesitant if I was speaking about the whole. Bizarre. What is it about? A detective life in Fuuto City is a challenging one. Sure, there's a fair share of finding stray cats and helping grannies cross the street, but the dangers lurk behind every corner. The mysterious monsters and aftermath from a fallen evil organization are still roaming the streets, killing people and destroying the peaceful ways of life of our brave detectives and the police force. But they do have an ally, the Kamen Rider. So the gist is what Fuuto Tantei is focused on, what is probably more well known to the Western audience is a Power Ranger. Now I know this is instantly going to turn people off, yet it's not really the traditional kind of story for that. It's definitely intended for an adult audience, already a big difference, and it's not just about shouting the names of attacks at each other. Although that does happen. Vast majority of the footage here is detective work, and a lot of that involves murders, with a display of the aftermath. What did I enjoy? Well, we focus on adults for once. One of the characters is even happily married, despite looking like a high schooler. Still, that's already better than vast majority of anime, although the approach to their behavior is still very juvenile. Second is the main meat, the murder mysteries, and mysteries in general. They are done in a very amusing way. So for an episode there is a setup of a case, the suspects are shown and the culprit isn't hidden. The viewer is then led to believe that the case is done a certain way, i.e. the culprit is obvious. Yet at the resolution all of that is almost mocked and the reality is shown to be quite different. A very obvious bait and switch with a strong reliance on red herrings. Herrings, whatever. Of course, if I was looking to be mentally challenged, I'd be upset as the information given is always incomplete, but this is just a fun show. That's not really the point. It's similar to Detective Conan, for example, where the mystery might be obvious or it might not be actually, yet it's still the main meat and it's still enjoyable even if a writer fails to deliver a conundrum. It's about the journey these characters go on to solve this and how they deal with it, and I'd say it was done in a good way. Aside from that, it's somewhat painful to admit, but I enjoyed the visuals. And I'll just come out and say it, there are sexy women in this. And they are very clearly presented as sex objects, and it's very, very, very distracting. For the most part there is no real reason for this, but at one point they actually do have a reason, as they are trying to woo a rich boy. And for one, it's not creepy anime bullshit with half-naked schoolgirls. These are adults. And in fact, everyone is attractive, males included. The ending sequence has the most cheesy dancing number of the two male leads. This series is so colorful and so flamboyant that I couldn't help but enjoy myself. It's also serious yet silly at the same time. But there were obvious flaws, which are difficult to put into singular points. So first of all is obviously the premise, which isn't awfully complicated. There is a mystery, the detectives figured out, it's connected to the dopant, i.e. the monster of the week, and they fight. And it's the most obvious, haha, you weren't prepared for my special attack. Oh no, your special attack, but hold on, I have a powerful mega strength that counters the special attack. How at you? And they just talk at each other and trade punch every other minute. This is truly riveting. It's definitely intended for younger audiences, is what I would say with a formula like that. But it's not the case at all. Gore and sexy ladies aren't exactly child-friendly, which leads me toward an obvious conclusion. Kamen Rider is something with a long story in Japan. There are multiple series, multiple comic books, live-action series, anime, games, yada yada yada. Starting all the way back in 1971. Detective Conan even has a knockoff called Kamen Yaiba. So Japanese people, kids, they watched it, years, decades even, and in the end they get tired, old, and so they stop watching. But then Fuuto Tantei comes along and tries to bring back that little something they've enjoyed coming back to every Saturday afternoon, or morning. I don't know, I didn't grow up in Japan in the 70s. Anyway, it's obviously trying to play on nostalgia. There are also references to an earlier series, a recent one, a live-action drama called Kamen Rider W. This is probably a pretty substantial turn-off for some people. They wouldn't care about any of the cheesy fighting, they would find predictable monsters involved in every case boring, and probably hate the attack transformation shouting every single time. Besides, the story isn't even finished. It's like season 1 of a series which has 3 or more seasons planned. There are only a few cases and they drag on, especially past the halfway point. And it all ends on a pretty cool character getting defeated and tossed aside after he, well, explodes. No real answers, solutions, nothing. Just to be continued and see ya. So, in the end, I do believe I enjoyed it and would recommend people check it out, at least the first episode. That one was pretty stellar. After that, and specifically after the first case, it gets quite a bit worse, so I'd strongly recommend watching that. After that, it's probably easy to guess whenever there is any interest for more or not.